Her smile shines as bright as the stars at night. Her heart is as kind as can be. She has the patience of a saint, but if you push her, oh Lordy. A straight talker is smiley. She's the salt of the earth. Make no mistake, she matters. Catch Smiley's story on a live stream. Oh boy, that girl can add her. Go Smiley. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Missing posters and stories of heartache and fear. She tells us all of the heartbreaking tears. She can sniff out the guilty from a mile away. If Smiley's on the case, then she's here to stay. She cares about these missing children. She cares deeply about them all. She speaks the truth with integrity. For the truth, she will seek it all. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Smiley's questions are like a heat-seeking missile. She's going straight for the bullseye. Don't ever believe you can fool her. She's too wise, man, she won't comply. She values freedom like the 4th of July. She values respect even more. If you want to earn a place at Smiley's table, watch the clock, it takes time for sure. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you break her trust, you're done for. Trust don't grow back like grass. So don't give Smiley a reason to doubt you, or that friendship will shatter like glass. She's a damn good woman, that much we know. She puts in the hours to bring them kids home. If your child is missing, you want Smiley on the case. She is always willing and she gives so much grace. She's a Smiley, alright. She's a Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you're guilty, you better feel fear. She was born and bred in Nashville, but she walks the beaches down in Florida sand. A mother and wife, a daughter, a sister, trying hard to do the best she can. She found her voice with a heavy heart, looking for purpose with trembling hands. And giving this all a new start, moving ahead, speaking for ones who came. And she says, I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be turned. Her mama fought cancer while she was searching. Stories that needed a gentle voice. We saw summer's name and felt the heart ache and tried to bring light where there was no choice. And when she heard us, the best in her sadness rose, she prays for truth through the noise. She'll follow wherever the story goes, seeking their dignity, a child's joy. She says, I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones on her, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be turned. She said, I am who I am, I stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones of her. She's got a caring heart that won't be turned.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. I've been an early bird the last couple of mornings. Thank you for being here. Hello, H. Davis. Good to see you. Hello, honey. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. BJ, up and got your coffee, ma'am. Hello, good to see you. Millie, good to see you. Good morning. Good morning, beautiful. Dee, hello, welcome in. Good morning. I'm so glad to see everybody. Good morning, Janice. Hello, hello, hello. I hope everybody's having a great day today and it's starting to warm up for you. Hello, Laura. Good morning. Good to see you. Hello, hello. I was like, darn, let me beat Betty this morning. Not because of that. I forgot she's an hour ahead of me and I'm trying not to step on nobody's toes so I can go ahead and get on with my day and get my things done. And I know everybody wants to go watch everybody else, but I wanted to get on this. I've been up since 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock must be my lucky number. The last 2 mornings I've been up at 3 o'clock in the morning. 3 o'clock, 3:00 a.m., honey, 3:00. So I need to go play that lottery number because usually you ain't gonna see me stay up till 3 o'clock and you ain't gonna see me get up till 3 o'clock. But the last 2 mornings, it is what it is, you know. Hey, Bob, good morning. Good to see you. Thank you for being here as always. We're going to have some good opinions in here today. Good morning, Raymond. Hello, hello. Welcome in, and Janice. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, the like, the share. All of that is free. Oh, Lord, I hear it raining. I hear it raining. I ain't getting snow, but I hear it raining. Lord, I hope y'all are doing good, and I hope it's warming up for you. It's supposed to be warm here today. Thank the Lord. Thank Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Because I tell you what, I don't know how everybody else is making it, but my bones ain't doing too good in this cold weather. But good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here. So everybody grab your coffee, grab your blankets, hot chocolate, sweet tea, Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Pepsi. I don't care what you're drinking. Just come in, get your snacks, get your eggs and bacon, wakey. And let's come on in and have a seat. And we're going to just discuss this story. I'm going to discuss the story with you. I'll get it out here in a minute. Okay. Just because I've been up since 3 o'clock don't mean, My brain is functioning too good. Um, as we know, this is a sad case, and so I do want to get on with it. It is February 4th, 2026, and right now it is 6:15 a.m. Central Standard Time at my house, honey. I don't know what time you got. I know some of y'all would like to go crawl back up under the covers, and that may be where I go. I said that yesterday, but I didn't never make it, so it is what it is. We've learned some new information. Let me put it like this. I've learned some new information. Okay. And we're going to listen to all that. Nancy Guthrie, she is still missing as far as I know. Since I started this live, they have not found her. She has been missing since, as we know, the late night of January 31st or early morning of the 1st. Now they say her pacemaker and everything. Hey, Lady for Justice, good morning. Good to see you. Now they say her pacemaker was detached or just stopped at around 2 a.m. So that is a timeline for them. She was last seen at her home, allegedly, in the Catalina foothills area north of Tucson, Arizona. So y'all keep on coming in. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. We know police from the beginning. We know they are treating this case as a crime. It's not a routine crime. It's not a routine. They're treating it as a crime. It's not a routine missing person. It was not in the beginning. Hey, Hobo's mom. Good morning. Good to see you, honey. Thank you for being here. It was nothing routine about this. Okay. We're talking about an 84-year-old lady that is not very mobile. And what mobility she has, she can't get around maybe 50 feet, 50 yards, 50 feet, you know. And we're learning some new things. But we're talking about Nancy today. She's 84 years old. And she's not very mobile. She has serious health concerns, and she didn't have her medications, and she didn't take anything with her. And it seems evidently she did not leave willingly. The sheriff's department says evidence at the home is very concerning. I'll say, hey, Garrett, good morning. Good to see you. Oh, you're fine, honey. Good morning. Y'all may hear rain coming down. It's coming down hard. Anyway, but the sheriff's department says evidence at the home is very concerning, and it indicates she maybe have taken against her will. We already know those things. Again, I do have some other information that's new that we're going to go over. But it definitely looks like a crime scene. And yes, it's very disturbing. Investigators reported to a very concerning scene when they were called out, when she did not show up for church on Sunday because she always goes. Somebody contacted a family member, and you know what? I still want to know who the family member. We heard the audio yesterday, but I still want to know. Maybe I just didn't catch it. I still want to know who called that in. Thank you, Hobo's mom, for being a member for 10 long months. Thank you, and thank you for being here. And look at that beautiful baby of yours. Look at that. Yay, absolutely beautiful. Good morning, Justin, my sweet friend. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Member for 11 months. Woo! Doggy, thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Love you. You know I love you, honey. And I played your video yesterday, and I sent some people over. Well, I don't know if I sent nobody over. Hell, I'm a lot smaller than you, but anyway, it is what it is. I told them go sub up with you. You own all these cases, honey. Annabella, honey, thank you for being a member for 24 months. Woo! I'm gonna start writing these numbers down and go play the dang Powerball. I really am. I believe in that stuff. Certain numbers come into your life at certain times. Lord knows, honey, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do that. Just going to do that. But investigators report this is very concerning, and there are signs of forced entry. Now, one thing I kind of wonder about, let's just say I wonder, because a lot of these are our opinions and our opinions only. Okay, there was blood inside and outside the house we know about now. Okay, we knew there was blood there, but as we seen the photos, and I'll probably show them again, there's blood outside at the front door. Okay, TMZ had it, Brian Etten had it, now Ashley Banfield's got it, that they're showing it, okay? But here's the thing. Hey, Hope Floats, good to see you. Good to see you, member for 10 months. Woo! Thank you, darling. Thank you. But here's the thing. The back door was open. Now, me, myself, and I wonder if that's one of those, look here, don't look here. And others are thinking different things. You know, did they come in the back door so they couldn't be seen? What difference does it make? All the cameras we know now are smashed. Whoever went in broke all the cameras because they didn't have common sense enough, I guess, or was trying to put a whoa Nelly brakes on to think what they're going to do next to get away with this crime that they have definitely committed. But either way, it was a crime scene. One of the reasons I personally would like to know who the family member was it Annie that went out there, and the reactions to the dispatch was it, because I'm just telling you what I would be. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not, let's get that straight. But I would be, oh my God, there was blood here. Oh my God, the cameras are broke. Oh my God, this is gone. Oh my God, this is in a disarray. Look, I don't care what I do on here. I'll be freaking out. But they say a family member did go out. So I don't know. That's just me, honey. I don't know. But there were signs of forced entry and blood found inside the home, triggering a criminal investigation and pushing, hear me again, early on, as we know, homicide investigators out there on that scene to investigate real early on in this case. And they even said during the conference, no, they were asked, is it normal for homicide detectives to go out and work on the case? Nano had his head down, and he answered, and he said, no, it is not normal. So that's very telling to me, in my opinion. But investigating early on, they had that going on. And they have over 100 detectives working on this case, reviewing all forensic evidence, as we know, canvassing the neighborhoods, the surveillance, other leads, helicopters, all that stuff. The Pima County Sheriff's Office and the FBI are working hand in hand, although Pima County is in charge. Savannah Guthrie has paused her broadcasting with the Today Show duties, as anybody would, And she's also pulled out of the Olympics. That takes a lot, but she's also pulled out. But of course, who in their right mind could leave knowing their mother was out there somewhere and this was going on? Justin said, oh, my glasses. Humanity is, yes, humanity. It's awful. It's been, yes, 3 solid weeks of school, church. I mean, yeah, you're right. Nothing but bad. Absolutely. Listen, every time we turn around, it's something. And it's nothing good. And humanity is horrible. But Savannah, her daughter, boy, you could tell she loved her mom. I can. But she's paused everything. She's dropped everything. And as she should. I mean, again, there's no right way or wrong way, but as any normal person would, has, put her family first, and she's out there in Arizona helping with the search. She's asked for prayers. She's asked for support through social media and through their church family and through everything. All of that. Everything. You got freezing rain. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's crazy. This rain is sounding crazy hitting my roof right now. Like, not normal. It's just crazy. Savannah's day show, her co-workers and her friends, they are all rallying around her and her family. They're really being good to her and being kind, and I'm so happy she has that support. But there is some breaking news. There is some breaking new developments in this case. At least for me, okay? You can call it what you want. You may already know it, and that's fine. Some of you may not have heard of it. But in the disappearance of Nancy, some of these updates out there on this 84-year-old beautiful woman missing, who we know and who does matter. We're going to talk about it. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming in. Please hit that thumbs up. This is a serious and developing case of this 84-year-old woman, Nancy Guthrie. And I truly believe it's going to be solved here pretty soon. I do. She's missing, and this live is about facts as I know them, and there is urgency, and we're going to do it with urgency, and we're going to do it with respect here, and not rumors and not speculations. But let's be mindful that Nancy's 84 years old, and she was last seen January 31st, 2026, allegedly in Catalina Foothills area north of Tucson, Arizona, in her home. She had dinner with her daughter Annie, and I believe her husband was there. And this is a tragedy. She's the mother of the beautiful Savannah Guthrie, the show co-anchor of NBC. This lady right here on my screen, who is missing, very much so, has severe medical conditions, although her mind, they say, is sharp as a tack. But she does have some very serious medical conditions, and she needs her medicine. She's 84, very beautiful, very well kept. But she's 5'5". She's about 150 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes, and it's unknown what she was last wearing. That's what has been described. And they said she did not leave her home voluntarily. Her wallet was left, her vehicle, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, I believe her vehicle was left behind. I don't think it was her vehicle that was took, but I could be wrong on that. But her vehicle was left, her wallet, her, all of her things was left behind. Now, I've come to find out they have confiscated, they have took in, impounded Annie, her other daughter's car, the one she went to dinner with the night before. Now, we'll get there in a minute, but that is just one of the things. That's just one of the things. Blood evidence was found inside the home. We now know, and it was found outside of the home as well. She requires her daily medication. I cannot stress that enough. I think that's so important. But I think whoever took her, kidnapped her, abducted her, took her against her will, they knew that. Me and Bob was just talking about yesterday on here in my other live that somebody had to know the cameras. I don't want to put words in his mouth. He's here. He can speak his own opinions, but I agreed. We felt this was very strange. And it could be a worker. It could be something. But just know those houses out there are spread out. Everybody they're in the boondocks. They're in the desert. They have acreages between houses. Not like they're on top of each other. But Nancy is more than a headline. She's a mother. She's a grandmother. She's a human being, and she deserves to be found. And I don't care whose mother she is, and I don't care how much money she has or does not have. I'm glad it's getting the attention, and I hope she's found, and I hope she's found safely, and I hope maybe this was just to get somebody's attention. I don't know. I don't care. All I care about is this lady is a victim. She's very sick. She needs her medicine, and I hope she's being well taken care of somewhere, and she is found. And if this was your mother, you would want every single light shining on her you could get, money or no money. Now, Ashley Banville had some great information. Absolutely great informative information. I'm going to go over that. We're going to watch her video. But first, let's talk about 84-year-old Nancy just for a second. Let's talk about, we know there was blood inside and outside the home. We know that. I think it was a pretty good amount of blood outside. But let's talk about her cameras. Her cameras was broken. They were smashed intentionally. Some of them may have even been taken, if not all of them. That's not only a huge red flag, that's going to be huge in this entire case. Watch and see what I'm telling you. It's a red flag. It means somebody, in my opinion, knew her. Hey, Archaholic, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. Anybody I missed, thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Y'all don't forget to hit that thumbs up. But someone knew this is more than just a lady living alone. I think they knew where things were. I think they knew where all the cameras were. Specifically, her hours, her routine, and they took it up on themselves to destroy all of the cameras or take the cameras. Foolishness. Not literally thinking, you might get a little bit of stall, but honey, have you just never been in trouble before? Is this your first time? Was you pissed off? Was this premeditated? Did you think you're going to get away with it? Or do you just not know because you're dumber than a box of rocks that they're still going to get the footage? I don't care how many cameras. I can sit here and stomp my phone and break it all to hell all day long. And if the police or anybody else wants to subpoena the phone company or come in and get it, they're going to get it. They're going to get the video. They're going to see it. They're going to hear it. They're going to get the messages. They're going to do whatever they got to do. So somebody, which I don't think there's no such thing as a perfect crime. I just don't. So what is this? What? Did they specifically take it upon themselves to destroy all them and forget about the little details? It's coming out very slowly. Police is looking at someone very heavily. That's the words used. Let's just take a little looky here. Let's just take a little gander. I'm not here to accuse anyone. I'm not here to accuse anyone. I'm just like y'all. But according to news reports and according to sources, it's possible, allegedly, I'm going to put here because I don't know for a fact, that this guy on my screen, Annie's husband, you see him? He just might be a number one suspect. This is Annie's husband. This is the one they went to dinner with, Garrett. And it's coming out slowly but surely from other sources that this may be number one. Does it mean he did anything? No. So let's make that clear. I'm not personally accusing anyone, but I am going to let you know what is new and what is out there. This is her son-in-law. This is the husband or boyfriend or live-in or whatever you want to call it of, thank you, Millie, this is who this is, of Annie, her daughter. And they evidently went to dinner last with Nancy and was the last one to see her. So that we're going to have to wait and find out. I don't know. I'm going to change it back because I don't want to personally accuse anyone. This is her driveway. This is her house and her driveway, though. Long drive for her to walk. Long drive for her to go, long walk for her to go out. She did not drive. She did not go willingly. So all this is coming out very slowly. There was blood drips on the front porch, but to me, there was a lot of them. So again, someone, whoever this someone is, they're not going to get away with this. It don't matter who it is. Someone is not going to get away with taking her out of her home unwillingly. This is not funny. It's not a game. There's been talk and shown on TMZ and other channels of now we know two ransom notes. Police are very aware of that. Nano said that yesterday. We did talk about that yesterday. Could that be somebody wanting 5 minutes of unfamous fame? People do that. Yes, we talked about that. You know, ransom notes nowadays are not something normal. But again, could it be look here, don't look here, let's make this look legit. Oh, Sylvana's this, and we can do this, or she's within an hour and a half of the border. We can we can throw people off. We can prolong this till I can figure it out. Or hell, they just may be dumber than a box of rocks, and it may be, what it is. Who knows? The cops know. I think the cops know more than they're saying. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. Good morning. Good morning. So whoever you are, I want to tell you, law is on to you. Whether you know it or you believe it or you want to know it. And I think they're going to get you. I heard Brian talking, and we're going to hear him here in just a minute. Brian Etten talking about he just thought they were over there because he knew they were over there yesterday, the FBI talking to Annie again, which is normal. You're going to talk to the family. The family's always, I don't care who you are. If something happened at my household today, our family would be the first people they would be looking at, talking to, and I would not expect it to be no less. No matter if we've had problems and wouldn't hurt a flea, or no matter whatever, that's just the way it is. But whoever you are, law is on you. I guarantee you that. Miss Guthrie had a pacemaker. We're now finding that out. One of the things, I'm not saying all of the things or if that was the only thing that we're finding out, was a pacemaker. And that pacemaker was disconnected from all devices around 2 a.m. That's important. That is so important because that actually gives the law enforcement a time frame, a better time frame. Now, it's taken them a little bit longer since all the cameras, the Apples, the Androids, the whatever it was, all the things were destroyed. But make zero mistake, they will retrieve all that. They'll get all that information one way or another. They might have to go through the companies. They might have to get the subpoenas. And trust me, that's already being done. Even while I'm telling you that, it's already been done. You can believe that. They might have to jump through hoops and jump through red tape. I think when the police ask for something, they should be able to get it if it's something like this and it's known, not just for the fun of it, not just because somebody knows somebody. But if this is all over the news and this is very important like this, I don't think all the red tape should be there. That's just me. That's just me. but they have to get the subpoenas, and they do have to go through the proper channels because they don't want anything thrown out either. They're probably not only going to get everything to see if they can see anybody on the cameras, what they were wearing, if they had hoodies on, their face was covered up. I don't know if these people thought of that stuff or not, or if they're going to get way more than they even bargained for. But in my opinion, there is zero excuse for this. Zero, none. I'm learning that after 6 p.m., the home of Nancy was cleared yesterday to be turned back over to the family. I was once told a little story. So, sometimes I get upset about things being, because I think even Brian said he thought he was surprised that was early. I could be wrong about his words. I think that's what he said. Hell, again, I did wake up at 3 o'clock, so who knows what my brain was thinking. But I was once told a little story one time, and it's the truth. Sometimes, I was told this as a young girl, even on my job. Sometimes, by my grandmother, and trust me, she has good instincts. Sometimes people may lay $1 down, or they may drop $1 on the ground, or they may something just to see what you'll do with it, if you'll do the right thing, or if you'll stick it in your pocket, or whatever. Sometimes I get mad because I think, oh my God, they let the family, I'm not just talking about this one, I'm talking about a lot. They let the family in the house and this, that, and the other. Then it just hit me this morning. And I got thinking about that. I thought, what if, and this is just if, hypothetical, what if, I'm not saying they planted anything, that's not what I'm saying, but what if they moved one thing from one place to another place, or something, they let certain people back in the house, they have free reign to the house, and then let's just say somebody's a number one suspect, or a number two, or number three, and they go in, but all of a sudden, down the road, oh, this was actually here, police. And the police is going, it was moved. Or what if it's not there no more? Well, they have it on camera or something. Something like that. That's why truth always matters, in my opinion. Again, even in cases, you don't know what can happen. Especially when they got people out there that they think might be screwing with shit. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know, Millie. Thank you for that. I know. I just don't want to mix the two, but thank you. After 6 p.m. at the home of Nancy, it was cleared. It was turned back over to the family, and they could go back in. But after that, nobody has washed the blood out front. Why is that? On the porch. Why is the blood still there? Did they ask them not to? I'm sure they have everything that they need, and they got the photos and the video. That would be the first thing I'd want to do. I mean, why? Next is the Nest is the company Ring cameras. So they got to go through Nest. That came from Ashley this morning. And it's not ring cam. So the sheriff is a little bit upset about that. But we have zero idea what will be found on that information. I still want to know, was it one person? Was it more than one person? Was it a man? Was it a woman? Was it two men? Because y'all can tell me what you think. I think it was a man. I'm not specifically saying I think it was Thomaso or whatever his damn name is, but I do think it was a man. But was somebody else there with him? That's what I would like to know. I think that's a big question, and I think there's a lot of talk about that out there. So there's this alleged ransom note. Actually, it's two of them from my understanding, unless they find more or get more. That was interesting. So it was more than one note. The police is very aware of that. It does seem to be foul play. That was early on, at least by everything seen and heard. And I will have to agree with that, but there's still hope. We know now the back door was left open. Why not the front? If there was blood out front, was that to confuse somebody? Good morning, Dub Deuce. Good morning. Good to see you. Good morning. Good morning. You know, was that to confuse somebody? Or did somebody go out to do something out back real quick? Or break another camera or get a camera and forgot to shut the door? Or says, who cares, and didn't shut the door? Or did they go out one door and not the, just who knows? Do they go in one door and out the other? We don't know. I think Annie's car being towed is a huge, I can't really say I'm shocked, but that was a huge one to me. Now, why could that be? Is it normal for Annie's car to be towed? I have another question. They just bought like a $650,000 house, from my understanding, about 10 minutes away. So was Annie's car towed from her own house, or was it towed from her mother's house? Was it normal? She leaves her, good morning, honey. Was it left there? Is it something that she left her car there on a normal basis? I ain't gonna lie. My son leaves his car here all the time. I'm like, Jesus, Louise, stop that crap. But he does, just because of the parking situation. And that gets on my nerves, but hey, what are you going to do? I'm not going to say it's not unnormal, and I'm not going to say it don't happen, because it does happen. But I'd like to know where her car was towed from. Did they take two cars that night to dinner? I don't know. Or did they tow her car in from Nancy's, or from hers or Nancy's, either one, to try to get fibers or more DNA? Or again, it's hard if you've never been in trouble. So I don't know that he's a teacher. I don't know if he's got a record. I don't know if she's got a record. I don't know if they've ever had even fingerprints. I don't know if they're looking for, you know, to have an excuse to get their I don't know if they have probable cause and are trying to get DNA from them to match. Any of that is possible. We don't know. Any of that's possible. Maybe they're trying to see if anything happened in the car. If Annie said that's where they brought her mom in from dinner from, you know, but we're hearing all kinds of things. But police is not putting out a whole lot. In fact, I don't think they're going to do another presser unless something big happens until Thursday. Now, they've been good about it. But here's the other thing. Do they think something's going to come up before Thursday? Just wondering. But they're not saying. They say Thomas O., Annie's husband, is a prime suspect, allegedly. Again, I don't know why they think that, but they obviously do. And we're not accusing here anyone of anything. We still have to understand and remember everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. However, we all know we can have our own thoughts and our own opinions, as well as we all know public opinions can be, and they will be, brutal. And they are brutal. You got to have tough skin. And if you don't, well, if you ain't got nothing to hide, why are you so worried about it? That's all I got to say about it, It is what it is. You can't stop public opinion. That's just what it is. You just can't. And there's going to be public opinion. It's sad, but it's true. And if it happened to you and if it happened to me, well, it's going to be, unfortunately, what it's going to be. That don't make it true, though. And everybody is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And I do need to say that because that is a fact. But it don't make things correct. But there's some reason Annie's husband is definitely at the top of the list. It's heartbreaking. He's going to have to be ruled out, just like any other family member and just like any other case. Now, keep in mind, Annie's husband has probably drove that car many times. He's probably had access to his mother-in-law's home. He probably knows everything. My question was, and my question is, did they have problems in the past? At the time or ever? Because let's get real, y'all. Over here we get real. Let's get real. Not everyone cares about their in-laws. You want to know fact, F-A-C-T? Not everybody gives a shit about their in-laws. If you're one of the ones who has in-laws that love you and you love them, and you would do, and I know a few like that, and you Gucci, good for you. But not everybody Sometimes when in-laws are a taboo word. Hell, if you don't know that, you ain't living in this real world. Now, does that mean he don't go over and help her? Does it mean he don't do this for Annie? Does it mean he don't do that for Nancy? No. But were there problems? Was there did something set them off? Did something happen? I don't know, because we don't know if he's even guilty of anything or anybody in that family. We don't know. And I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just putting out what I'm telling you. Good morning, Gypsy. But not everyone, male or female, ever is close to someone, does anything but tolerate their in-laws, whatever the reason. But it is what it is. But that don't make them do anything or go to these lengths. But again, we just don't know. So the thing is, the DNA. So far, the DNA's come back, and it looks like all of that was Nancy's blood. All of it belonged to Nancy. Good morning, Kimberly. Hello, good to see everybody coming in. Thank you for being here. They allegedly don't think the ransom notes are something to be so worked up about. Again, maybe someone's just trying to look like somebody that's a nobody. Look here, don't look here. Maybe it's something like that. Somebody just wants to be in the spotlight, because we talked about that yesterday. You do have idiots that just love that type of stuff. But then I always bring it up. There's that damn BTK. What'd he do? He sent his stuff to the news, because why? The news wasn't getting stuff right. Maybe it is real. Maybe they didn't like what they're putting out there about they don't know what clothes she had on, because in one of these ransom notes, or both of them, allegedly, it tried to tell what she had on. Well, I think if you're going to do that, Mr. or Mrs. Ransomer, I think you need to show a real life photograph. How about that? With her holding the newspaper or something. They say Thomas O is a teacher at a school, and he has been a teacher since 2007. He's also an artist. He teaches 6th grade science. And I believe he also teaches, I want to say 8th grade. I could be wrong. I think he teaches a different grade in biology. Does that fit in anywhere? Science, biology, I don't know. But when things like this happen, I don't care who you are. There is no perfect crime. And I don't care what you teach and what your profession is. Mistakes are going to be made. And you ain't thinking about cleaning up everything and doing this, that, and the other. All the neighbors are spread out. Let's start to watch some of these videos. I know you're tired of hearing me run my mouth this morning. I need to drink me a little bit of this coffee. Hey, Kitty. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. Yeah, there was red flags all over the place. All over. Not many people want to take a mobile. And they had to know she was mobile, regardless of if it was them or not. Not many people want to take First of all, not many people want to take an adult. Not many people want to take an elderly person, and not many people want to take a person that is mobile. And if they come in and they find you have a pacemaker or medications, most of the time they're not going to want to take you, even if they need to finish you off in the crime world, because they don't want to leave a witness. I'm just saying, that's a fact. That's the truth. You don't need a cop to tell you that. You don't need Ray Charles to see that. You don't need Stevie Wonder to see that. But what you need is, you need to know what in the hell goes on in this real world. And that, my friends, is facts. Let's watch something. Before we do, let me show you this real quick. Hold on a minute, because I got it up here, but I don't think you can see it, and I don't know who to credit or where it was out. But before we watch the video, while I can get it, so I do want to say this. I want to put her. Oh, actually, hold on. I don't think y'all can see that. Hold on a minute. Let me share. Hold on. Sorry. Personal. It's not that one. It's that. I think it's this one. Okay. All right. So I think it's that one. I hope y'all can see it. They're having a vigil for her tonight at 6 o'clock. And it's at Phillips Street. I can't hardly see because I got on my wrong glasses this morning. Or is it, okay, sorry, St. Philip, shit, I can't see y'all. St. Philip's in the Hills Episcopal, damn, that's small, I can't raise it up, church. Anyway, it looks like it's at 4440. If anybody sees this, just write it, please, in the chat. 4440 North Campbell Avenue, Tucson, Arizona. So Tucson says, let's wrap our arms around the Guthrie family and strength and community for Nancy. Look how beautiful she is. Boy, you can tell she's been well taken care of, took care of herself, and did the things. Whether you light a candle at home or share this post or join us in prayer for the safe return. They're still hoping for safe return. Every act, brings them closer, everybody a step closer. So they're looking for, please bring her home. There is going to be this vigil. It is here. Take your screenshots, snapshots, whatever. Share the photo. And it is in the top corner. So that is from them. Okay. Sorry about that. I just realized, hell, I got on the wrong freaking glasses. Okay. So let's watch this. Give me just a minute.
Ordinarily serious pieces of information about this crime scene. I can tell you that Mrs. Guthrie had cameras, plural, at this home, and that they were smashed. You may have heard Brian Enton from News Nation talking earlier and asking Sheriff Chris Nanos a question in the news conference. And again, today, I'm recording on February the 3rd. It's a Tuesday. The press conference that was early in the day, Brian asked the sheriff, the camera on the front of the house is missing. And the sheriff said, we are trying to get into the companies that, are proprietors of this kind of cloud information to get that, and said by today, he did not have that information, did not have whatever was recorded. But I can tell you they are Nest cameras. They are Nest cameras, plural, and that whoever did this may have smashed those cameras, plural. So they're not there, presumably because law enforcement took those smashed cameras as evidence. I can also tell you I've got information about which door in the house was actually left open. There's been some erroneous reporting about some things. I now have the information about that.
No,
I
please
can tell
don't
you about
crash.
blood in the
Please
house.
channel,
I can
please.
confirm. Brian Enton has some incredible reporting and pictures of blood outside the house. He's going to join me in a moment. We're going to talk about that. I can also tell you whose car has been towed into evidence. And I can tell you that there is a family member who is being heavily looked at right now as a potential suspect. I'm going to bring that all to you in a moment. There's more information about Nancy's pacemaker. You probably have heard up until now that Nancy Guthrie had a pacemaker and it disconnected from her Apple devices, her Apple Watch, her Apple phone, which were left in the home at about 2:00 in the morning. And that is a significant time. And I will tell you why, that it is extraordinarily instructive to this investigation in terms of narrowing to a window. I'll explain why in a moment. Don't think that the pacemaker stopped working because she died. That's not it. The separation of Bluetooth between the things that the pacemaker was linked to, the Apple Watch and the phone. When they get out of range, you take your AirPods, you walk.
Millie, I want to ask you, now you may not know, we're not holding Millie to this. She's not a nurse anymore. She's retired, whatever. How long are you able to go without, without your pacemaker being, and I know some people's got it, it's different now, but if everything was unattached. And another thing, if it's attached somewhere else, they should be able to track it down or ping it, I would think. But I'm just wondering, in my opinion, how long you can go without that. Now my dad has like a defibrillator, but he has to keep that plugged up at all times. So I'm not sure. Does anybody know like hours? I mean, I know this is critical, but does anybody know as far as a pacemaker? I know when I went to, and again, they have so many things now, but when I, years ago, had my open heart surgery, and then I had to go to heart rehab. There was people there, of course, that had the pacemakers, but they might have had them just on. See, I thought they run on batteries. That's what I always thought. So I'm not quite sure if that is what kind of info. I'm just not sure. So Millie says the pacemaker will continue to work. The device just recorded that activity. Got you. Okay. That's what I was thinking, because I thought, how did the people go to rehab, hours at a time? They didn't have all that back then. So they're implanted. And so you have to have the battery changed every so often. So maybe that idiot person, whoever took her unwillingly, maybe they thought if they unhooked the recording or the devices, that nobody would be able to still track her or anything. But regardless, unfortunately, if they find her, and I hope she's alive, but she's not alive, they'll be able to actually identify her by that pacemaker. So I just want to put that out there. That is a true story. So, yeah, just let's go.
walk out, you leave an air tag behind, you get a notice, you're disconnected. That's more what this is about, but the timing of it is specific to narrow down the investigative window. So I'm going to get into all the details of all of these little pieces of information that I told you, because I've just touched the tip of the iceberg, but I also want to get you up to speed on all the information that came out today from a few different sources. Number one, from the sheriff himself, who held a news conference and answered questions. And then also from Brian Enton, because he got some great information. And as I mentioned, he's going to be up in just a moment with me. We're going to talk about all his findings. So John Edwards is the assistant special agent in charge of the FBI in Tucson. He joined Sheriff Chris Nanos for the news conference today. Again, it's February 3rd, Tuesday. They held this update, but they didn't give a lot of information. They just said, basically, this is to answer your questions in the press. And I can tell you that we found out this is not a gated community. Okay, that was one report that came out. It's not a gated community. It's also very dark and there are no streetlights. So very hard to see anything that might have been driving up and down those roads. The properties are huge, right? They're anywhere between 1 and 4 acres each. So more rural, don't think city, lit up, neighbor to neighbor sees everything. Your ring cam can see the street. It's not like that. Not everybody's ring cam can actually see the street from where they are on these big properties. The sheriff today said
Thank you,
Nancy
Raymond.
Guthrie's life
Whoever
is in
got
jeopardy.
that, welcome
Could
to
be a couple
Smiley
reasons he said that.
Squad.
Number one,
Woo!
medications were left behind in the home. Medications that she would need within 24 hours could be fatal. And it's now 72 hours since the last time she was seen. So that could be why he said her life's in jeopardy. Or he could have said it because I now have definitive sourced information saying that there was in fact blood inside and outside the home. So blood inside the home is scary because we now know she was taken against her will. Kidnapped was what the sheriff told me last night when I did my episode before. So blood inside the home, kidnapped forcefully, taken forcefully. That could probably be part of the reason why her life is in jeopardy. And Brian Enton's going to show you the pictures of the blood outside the home that he discovered today as well. The media has helped generate a lot of leads, the sheriff said. That's really important. He said, if you've got any information, 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI. If you know anything, even if it's tiny, the tiniest thing can lead to the biggest thing. The sheriff has said it's been helpful. They do not know what she was wearing when she was abducted, when she was kidnapped and taken from that home. They don't know if there were one or more kidnappers. Any indications she's still alive? Sheriff said, no idea. Can't tell you that. Is there a threat to the public? We were a little confused by the answer before. I think what he was trying to say was that we feel like this is an unusual circumstance. We don't think that this is going to be a serial kidnapping or whatever else has happened to Mrs. Guthrie, but there's someone out there that did this. So yeah, the threat is out there. He's not going to go as far as they did in Idaho early on and say there's no threat to the public, because Brian Koberger was out there for, over 6 weeks and he's a threat to the public, but it didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like there was no threat. It didn't feel like there was a big threat. So take that the way you will. Were there any valuables taken, ATM cards? Sheriff would not say. Sheriff wouldn't say, was there forced entry? I can tell you definitively, there was absolutely forced entry. The pacemaker information, they didn't want to talk a lot about it, but I will tell you, my reporting, my source says that the 2 a.m. separation, when the pacemaker stopped responding to the devices it was connected to, the Apple phone, the Apple Watch, that is the time they are narrowing down this kidnapping to. Yes, she was last seen at 9:45, but the kidnapping, they are pegging it to that moment, because that is when the pacemaker that's inside the girl, the woman, the elderly mother who was taken out of that house, it's separated. And so that.
Okay. And I still want to know, did they dropped her off at what, 8:30, 9:30, just give them a little wiggle room there. I want to know, did anybody, whoever it was, and yes, I put his picture back up, it's me, Jen, he does look creepy. And to think he's a teacher, my God. What I want to know is, have they took him in for questioning? Have they got his DNA? I want to know these things. I want to know all of these things. And will that come out today? I don't know if there's any criminal history with him. I want to say I don't think. I would hope not. It's me, Jen. I don't know for a fact, but he is a teacher. He teaches science and he teaches biology. And I'm wondering if that comes into play anywhere, way, shape, or form.
That is what they are now narrowing the disappearance time down to, according to my law enforcement source with knowledge of this investigation. Pacemaker separates 2 a.m. That's when they believe the actual.
Oh, but I did want to say, okay, so they have the timeline, 2 o'clock, her pacemaker was disconnected. So were they, did anybody drop her off? Did they have time to try to clean up? Was things in the house tried to be cleaned up? That's what I want to know. And did they just not care and try to clean up or not try to clean up the blood outside? But there was blood on the inside and the outside. I would be interested to know, which we're not being told, but there was for fact blood on the inside as well. But I would like to know, again, like I said yesterday, before I even knew this, and they're going to look at, was it a tall, from a tall person, a short person? Was it splattered? Was it drips like it was on the porch? All of those things we went into blood yesterday. Did somebody try to clean up? Because again, you had Jodi Arias trying to clean up the whole freaking crime scene. She did, and it washed clothes and everything, and it worked. So if she's dropped off at 9, we got 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. That's 5 hours. So, I'm just asking. That's something I personally would like to know.
Actual kidnapping happened. The house was turned back over to the family yesterday after 6 p.m. Again, that would be Monday, February 2nd. They processed everything. Crime scene tape went up, done with the residents, turned back over to the family, but nobody washed the blood off the front steps up to the front door. And Brian Enton was able to go up and look at it because it's not a crime scene anymore. You're going to talk to Brian in a moment about that. I think I mentioned this before, but if I didn't, they are waiting for the camera information and very frustrated. Police are very frustrated by how long it's taking to get the Nest company. I learned that it is the Nest company. It's not Ring Cams, it's not Ring.com. It's Nest cameras that were out front that were smashed. They are waiting for the corporate Nest executives to yield that information back to the sheriffs. Listen, 72 hours. It's been a long time. I can understand why the sheriff would be frustrated that it's taking this long. This was at, again, 1:30 today. It's about 7 hours ago. So that might have happened in the last 7 hours. Maybe the sheriff has that camera information now. And with those cameras being smashed, right? That's evidence. All of that is evidence, right? What was the tool used to smash them? What did it look like? All of that. And so when Brian Enton asked the sheriff, the cameras are missing, and the sheriff wouldn't go there. Clearly, the police have taken those cameras, smashed as evidence, and those are now in evidence lockup as part of this investigation. But again, I can't reiterate enough how dark this area is. No streetlights, dark and rural. Whoever smashed those cameras could very well have been completely cloaked, and that may not help a lot. Maybe you'll see someone's gate. Maybe the exterior lights were off on the home. Who knows? Depends on what kind of Nest cam she has. Does it show night vision? I mean, there's lots of different levels that you can get. Who knows what information that will yield? Whoever smashed those cameras, what will we see? What kind of, right-handed, left-handed, walking up? What was the gait? Does it look like a man? Does it look like a woman? Hopefully that could have been ascertained.
They just got to get subpoenas. It'll show.
Smashed. It's very, very disturbing because that is so completely planned, right? This isn't some random, drug addict who's just looking to rob a house. This is something far more premeditated. If the cameras, plural, are smashed, whoever did this knew there was more than one. I am going to have all of this for you in exquisite detail in just a minute. I do have to just tell you this. I have sponsors that make this podcast possible. And I just want to tell you a little bit about my latest one, because lately everything is feeling extraordinarily expensive and stressful: air travel, gas, food, day-to-day life. But I've been getting a lot smarter about this. I'm fighting back. And if you're like me, I know you're watching your money a little more carefully. You've signed up for free trials and then you forgot about them until boom, you get all these bills months later. Not good. That's why my new sponsor, Rocket Money, it's got your back. It's a personal finance app that helps you manage all of your money in one place. It tracks all the spending. It creates budgets that are yours for your life. And the fact that Rocket Money tracks my subscriptions so I can cancel them when I don't use them, it's been a lifesaver. It also tracks my spending habits so I can see where I'm wasting way too much money and then put an end to that. And Rocket Money is free. Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you. Free download. You can get started today. Just go to rocketmoney.com/dropdeadserious. Again, rocketmoney.com/dropdeadserious. And guess what? You can get the premium trial for absolutely free if you use my link, rocketmoney.com/dropdeadserious. You use that link, you get the premium for free. Again, rocketmoney.com/dropdeadserious. The link is down below as well. Get smart about your money. Okay, back to the information on the case. The investigation is not yielding enough money for the sheriff to feel as though he needed to give more regular updates, because he said, I'm not giving another one for 2 days. Not until Thursday, February the 5th. Today's the Tuesday, the 3rd, unless warranted, unless something happens. Something happened today when Brian Enton was standing right outside in front of Nancy Guthrie's house that was unique and interesting and may have been information tipped. I'll tell you that in a moment, and I'll show you the pictures from the sky. There was a chopper up ahead. So I'll tell you that in just a moment, but it was super fast.
None of these houses are close. They all have land. They're out in the desert. It's pitch black out there. And someone was asking, did Annie have kids? I don't know if Annie had kids or not. She has a son, from my understanding, and she has Savannah. But I know that she is a grandmother, so somebody has kids. I just don't know if it's Annie or not. I don't know that. I don't know to answer that. I know that they just bought a $650,000 house last year, about, I don't know, 10 minutes from her, maybe 6 miles down the road, 6 or 10 miles down the road. But no motive has been put out there yet. So could any of this come into play? Maybe. I hope to God it's none of the family. I hope it's not. We just don't know right now. But there's a reason that this guy is at the top of the list. And that in itself makes my stomach very queasy.
Fascinating that the sheriff wouldn't confirm blood evidence, but Brian Enton confirmed it outside, and I have confirmed it inside. There was blood inside the home. There was blood outside the home. So let me get to some of Brian Enton's amazing reporting as well before I give you a little bit more of what my law enforcement sources told me, especially about the prime suspect and the car that was towed. That's very, very distressing. Brian also learned about forced entry into the house, and he learned of the 2 alleged ransom notes. We're going to talk at length about that. One went to TMZ, one went to a local TV station in Tucson. We have thoughts. Lots of people have thoughts. The sheriff has some thoughts, apparently. But I'll talk to Brian about that in a moment, and I will read for you what those are. I'm also going to tell you this, that the sheriff was concerned enough that he put out a statement with a QR code. Okay? Let me read this. Sheriff said, "We are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes," plural. It's ransom note, parentheses S, so a note or notes, regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. We encourage anyone who may have information, any information or tips to share via this QR code. So he answered the question too during the press conference when he was asked about, were there ransom notes? Has anybody reached out to Savannah Guthrie or her family? Who takes an 84-year-old woman? What's the point? It would seem like they'd want something. And he didn't say no. He just said the same thing that you just heard. We're looking at all leads. So they may have looked at the TMZ lead right before that press conference, and they weren't ready to say whether they thought it was legit or just some hoaxer. And maybe the Tucson TV station got one as well. It was a scam artist born every day. So, by the way, very illegal, very traceable. We'll get to that. Okay. Savannah put out a post today, and the Today Show, obviously this is their colleague. I'm a colleague of Savannah's. I worked with Savannah for years. We've been friends for years. We've done charity events together. She's dear. She's very dear to me, and it's breaking my heart that she is down there.
Yeah, they're in charge, working alongside the
trying
FBI.
to find her mom. And she gave the Today Show a statement about where they stand at this point. This is how the Today Show aired it.
Chanel is in for Savannah once again, who remains with her family in Arizona.
Good morning, and that is where we begin this morning. The disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, Savannah's mother, and a beloved part of our Today family. Authorities in Arizona now saying the 84-year-old appears to be the victim of an abduction.
Overnight, Savannah posting this image on Instagram. Please pray. She went on to write, "We believe in prayer. We believe in voices raised in unison, in love, in hope. We believe in goodness. We believe in humanity. Above all, we believe in Him."
She added, "Thank you for lifting your prayers with ours for our beloved mom, our dearest Nancy, a woman of deep conviction, a good and faithful servant. Raise your prayers with us and believe with us that she will be lifted by them in this very moment." She goes on to say, "We need you. Bring her home."
And obviously, Savannah's not on the Today Show. She wasn't on yesterday either. And she will not be going to Italy to do the Winter Olympics. This is huge for Savannah. This is every 4 years. It is one of the biggest assignments. The amount of prep that it takes to do the Olympics, it's weeks and weeks and weeks of work. And she is not going. And someone is going to have to take her place and get up to speed and cover for her. But how heartbreaking that is that she's not going to be able to do that. And she will not be at the Winter Olympics at all for that coverage.
Thank you so much. It's me
above Brian Enton while he was doing a live report today.
Welcome to
above Nancy Guthrie's house, and it was the sheriff's helicopter, and there was a guy hanging out of it, and it was low. It was low enough to see him hanging out of it and looking around. And that wasn't the only emergency vehicle either. I'm going to tell you about that when I talk to Brian. It was another vehicle that was law enforcement related, and it does speak volumes to what might have happened that sent those two vehicles out, the helicopter and the pickup truck. Tell you that in a moment. First, let me tell you some devastating stuff. So my law enforcement source tells me that the back door of the Guthrie home was the door that was left wide open. Was it the point of entry?
Thank you for gifting a membership.
Was it the
Thank
point
you
of
so much.
Don't know that.
Whoever got that, welcome to Smiley
But it was open,
Squad.
wide open, and it was in the back, not the front. Brian Enton saw blood at the front door. So did a struggle happen at the front door? Was there a doorbell rung at 2 a.m.? Why was the back door open? A lot of questions there. But the back door, according to my law enforcement source, was left wide open. I told you already, 100% blood inside the house. My law enforcement source told me that police have now towed and impounded the vehicle belonging to Nancy Guthrie's daughter, Annie Guthrie. This is important because you've heard that the last point of contact with Nancy Guthrie was when she was dropped off by her daughter at 9.
See, I think that's very, very important. Again, I would like to know more details on why that they towed in her vehicle. Why did they tow it in? What were they looking for? Were they looking for their DNA? Were they looking for her mom's DNA? Did her husband drive the car? What's going on there? It's just very strange to me. And it was something I was hoping would not happen, but it definitely has.
45-ish at night on Saturday night. So Annie Guthrie, and possibly her husband as well, Tommaso Cioni, were the last people to see her at 9:45 at night, Saturday night. Sunday morning, 11 a.m., church members reached out to the family. Hey, your mom wasn't in church. Not normal. She's always there. What's up? Family member goes over, calls family member or members, goes to the house, calls 911, and the investigation begins. But they have towed Annie Guthrie's car. And there is some connection to Annie Guthrie's car and Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law. That would be Annie's husband, Tommaso Cioni, age 50, from Tucson, Arizona, married to Annie P.
They
Guthrie,
towed
Savannah's sister.
his car too?
And my law enforcement source tells me that Tommaso Cioni is the prime suspect in this case. Again, law enforcement source tells me that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, married to Annie Guthrie, Savannah's sister, is maybe a prime suspect in this case. At the very least, let me tamp that down, because sometimes it's the first person you're looking at, not prime as in there's no one else. Okay, so let's be really mindful of that. Families are always looked at first as well. It doesn't mean right away. Listen, Ed Smart was targeted for weeks as, without question, somebody they needed to look at. Possible suspect, right? Heartbreaking for Ed and Lois Smart, because it wasn't them who took Elizabeth, right? But that's what happens when anything happens like this, familial abductions.
Thank
the
you,
families looked at
Janice.
first, and
Woo!
Annie and or Tommaso Cioni were the last
Smiley
people
Squad,
to see
whoever got that, please thank
Nancy
Janice.
Guthrie at 9:45 at night, the night before she disappeared, abducted, kidnapped. Kidnapped was the word that the sheriff used with me. But it's very distressing to think that this law enforcement source is telling me that Tommaso Cioni is maybe a prime suspect in this case at this point, and that the car belonging to Annie has been towed and impounded and is in evidence. That's the word that was used with me. This law enforcement source also said to me, who has the motive to kidnap an 84-year-old woman? The way it was described to me is, that's a burden, right?
I don't know, to be honest with you, but that's what I would love to know. Because see, I'm sure she had people to take care of her yard, her flower bed. I'm sure she had people to come in and help her clean. I'm sure, let's get real. No matter what the ones living right there 6 or 7 or 10 miles down the road, I'm sure Savannah loved her mom. There's no doubt, with all the photos out there and everything. And she's the one that had the money. And I'm sure she literally made sure her mom was taken care of and had the least of things. So, had the least of hardships and made her life easier for her mother. So with her gone, her being, in a different state, out of town, working, making her living and doing her thing, which she should be allowed to do, and everything else in between. I'm sure her mother was taken care of. So who was the caretaker for her? I don't know. But if I was the law, and I'm sure that they have, I would be looking at anybody and everybody that was even associated with coming in and out of that house. So again, it don't make Thomas guilty of anything. It doesn't make Annie guilty of anything or any of the family members. But they definitely are looking at them for some reason. You know, I don't know if when they spoke with him, them, something didn't add up, but there's something that made them tow that car in. Even when you get questioned, a lot of times they don't tow the car in. So again, what was it? It's a good question. Who was the caretaker? Was it Annie? I don't know. Was Thomas so upset about that? She was getting a lot of attention. Sometimes people think you're giving too much attention to others, and they're jealous of things they don't need to be jealous of. So who knows? Who knows? I think the law knows, but I think it'll come out. I do think all that will come out.
It's a burden to kidnap an 84-year-old woman with mobility issues needing medication. That is a burden. And then this law enforcement source said, so you look at people who would have a benefit to an 84-year-old woman going away, disappearing or dying. Sometimes it's somebody who has an insurance benefit from that. Sometimes it's somebody who may benefit because there's a debt.
But that's again,
and that may be helpful. These are just musings. They are not evidence, okay? But they are musings from people I trust implicitly due to their longevity in the business of investigating this exact kind of thing. I told you already about the pacemaker information. The law enforcement sources have narrowed it down to the kidnapping happening at 2 a.m. based on the pacemaker stopping at 2 a.m. That's when they believe Nancy was taken from that house. All forms of DNA were submitted, right? But the sheriff himself said that it came back. Like so far, the details that have come back have not pointed to a suspect, which tells them that it was likely Nancy's blood, not a suspect. Or at least nothing has come back yet to point to a suspect regarding the blood. My law enforcement source said that they will be searching every single cell phone ping, the geofencing, all the rest. This source told me that this is someone who knew where the cameras were, somebody who was familiar with this home, this premises, this woman. They knew where the cameras were in order to smash those Nest cameras, plural. Okay. And as far as the TMZ ransom note, my source says that they don't believe that this is real. They think it's just troublemakers trying to insert themselves into this story. Could that change? Yes. Just want to give you a little bit of information on Thomas Osioni, Annie Guthrie's husband, whom at this point, I am told again, may be a prime suspect in this case. He's 50, from Tucson. His bio from a website that's an Italian website, an official Italian website for the Taparulan Society, Cultural Association, the Taparulan Cultural Association, a nonprofit focused on promoting contemporary artists. His bio says, I was born in San Giovanni, Valderno on June 18th, 1975. Since 2006, I have lived in Tucson, Arizona. I write when I have the chance. I study lizards. I play the electric bass. I make homemade pasta. LinkedIn reports that Thomas Osioni is a teacher at Basis Oro Valley School from 2007 until present. Says he's a primary instructor for 6th grade science and AP biology. Reverb Nation, that's a music website, says that he put out an album with a 3-man music group called Early Black. Music is apparently available, but that's all I know about Annie Guthrie's husband, who, again, one law enforcement source, very connected, highly regarded, impeccable credentials, knowledge of this investigation, says that Tommaso Cioni, Annie P. Guthrie's husband, may be the prime suspect in this case, and Annie's vehicle has been towed, impounded, and is now in evidence. Very distressing. So Brian Enton is with me from News Nation. He's been doing some incredible work since landing on the ground in Tucson. Brian, you have done, again, some outstanding reporting.
I love Brian. Now, I want y'all to listen to him because I did listen to this morning. He's even surprised at some of these things. So I want you to watch his reactions and listen to him because I think he's very, very good. I have a lot of respect for Brian. Let's go.
Out in front of Nancy Guthrie's home. When the crime scene was turned over to the family, you found a blood trail.
Yeah, we did. And I was kind of surprised, Ashley, that it was not a crime scene anymore. I don't know why I just expected that they would still have some tape outside. Or, when you cover these things, they'll have like one police car that stays behind. Everybody left. I mean, it was just empty, except there were some, what I thought were family members coming and going today. I don't know who they were. So we decided, let's just go knock on the door and see if anybody is home, just to kind of see what's going on, since it's not a crime scene. It's all open back up. And so walking up to the front door, you could see that there was blood right outside the front door on the ground, like on the stoop right there, right near the front mat going in. Just, not a ton of blood, but it was definitely blood. It was all right there. And then when you looked up, you could see where the camera was, right by, almost like where it looked like a doorbell, but it was a camera, and the camera was gone.
Well, and my information from my source is that those cameras were smashed, not just the front one. There was a second one. Whoever did this knew there were two, smashed them. So presumably the fact that you saw that they're gone means that the police took them for evidence.
Yeah, it could be
what's
either
interesting
or.
though is when
Absolutely.
I asked the sheriff, I was at the press conference and I asked the sheriff, we noticed that
And was she on
the
blood
camera is
thinners,
gone in the front. Do you think the perpetrator took the camera? He said, we noticed that too, and all of that is under investigation. So it was kind of strange. I don't know. He didn't give me an answer. Was it the perpetrator who took the camera? Was it the police who took the camera? But he acknowledged that they also noticed that the camera was gone.
I think he's having to answer in real time to, investigative information and evidence that he doesn't want out there, probably. And having to, tap dance in front of live cameras, which is really hard. I mean, this is a small place. Tucson has barely had, massive crime. I think one of the biggest things was Gabby Giffords, 15, 20 years ago. So this is a lot. This is a big crime for them to process, and the media attention is sort of stifling. It's really, really hard. Let's just talk a little bit about that blood trail a little bit before we go more into the cameras. But you find the blood trail at the front door. The front door is closed. At least it is now. My law enforcement source has told me the back door was wide open, which sort of gives you just so many questions. Is that where the perpetrator came in? Is that where the perpetrator went out with Mrs. Guthrie? Did Mrs. Guthrie answer the front door at 2 a.m. and there was a pitched fight and that's why the blood is there? Because I think you mentioned the blood doesn't go further out along the stone.
In my opinion, and this is my opinion only, I don't think they went out the back door. I think they went out the front door, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong about it. You think it was definitely a man? Yeah, I think it was a man too. I just wonder if they had help or they were the only ones. Especially because I think that they knew her situation, and that's still going to be pretty much dead weight on them to lift her and carry her. And then if something got out of hand, then it's definitely not going to be good. But as far as the door, I don't know. I just have this gut feeling, and I could be wrong on it. I just think that the back door was either they went out to do something real quick, forgot to shut it, or they went to get a camera, or check to see if there was a camera out there. If they didn't know, I have a hard time believing they didn't know this whole layout of the house. Or it was open the door, let's look here, let's throw them off, something like that. But that's just me and my opinion only.
Stones to the driveway.
Yeah, that's right. We looked and it was just in that area near the door. It's not like there were droplets that went out to where the driveway is or even in the driveway, which made me think, I mean, did they take Miss Guthrie out the front? And like you said, the back door being open, maybe they came in the back and took her out the front and into a car. And maybe that's why the blood just stopped right there. We just don't know.
I will tell you this, in my half-hour-long conversation with the sheriff last night, I said, so you think that perhaps when you say Mrs. Guthrie was taken out of that home, she did not walk out of that home, are you telling me she was carried over the threshold of the front door? And he said, I did not say the front door. So that was a clue to me. Wait, okay, not the front door. And then I learned today that the back door is open. So I am very curious. There were some erroneous reports about Mrs. Guthrie was dragged from her bed. The sheriff actually put out a statement saying that is not what I said. So we, at this point, the sheriff was walking back anybody who reported she was dragged from her bed. We don't know if the bedroom was, the epicenter of this crime yet. We don't know if there's ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, and Mrs. Guthrie comes down at 2 a.m. What's going on? And something happens at the front. But why then would the back door be wide open? It's very, very confounding. Why would the blood be in the front, but the back door is open? Or did they, like you said, come in the back door, go up to the bedroom, but then take her out the front?
Yeah, and I'm just looking behind me because there's more cars in the driveway now. Step out of the way. You see that white Volvo, and then there's a truck. I think they've maybe brought security people in to just kind of keep an eye on the house. But one thing that you don't know until you're here, I didn't realize, is this isn't like a normal neighborhood, Ashley. It's right in the foothills. Every house, I would say, is on at least an acre, maybe 2, 3, or 4 acres. They're almost like little ranches. And it's pitch, we've got our lights on for, because we're doing our camera work, but it's pitch black out here. There is not one light out here. And it's a ways to the next house. So I'm just thinking if they came in through the back door, to take her out the back door, though, it's not like there'd be a little alley back there. So, I mean, there's like cactus. This is not, it's like kind of wild land out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But whoever smashed the cameras maybe thought it would be an easier way to get in the back door to smash a camera without being seen, go in the back and then maybe smash the front camera from the inside of the house coming out. Who knows? I mean, but whoever it was, my law enforcement source said they knew there were those cameras and where they were in order to smash them. We're getting to that in a bit, but helicopters overhead while you were doing your live shot earlier today. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, there was a sheriff helicopter that got very, very low over the house with 2 men looking out and down. And my first thought was like, sometimes they'll just kind of come by to come look real quick and then they'll leave. But they stayed for over an hour over the house and then across the street. And then in like kind of, again, it's almost like fields out here, but with a lot of cactuses in the vicinity of the house, very low, looking around. And then we saw a search and rescue truck out here, which we hadn't seen all day. So I don't know if there was kind of like, hey, we left some stone unturned and we just want to go back out and look one more time, or if there was a specific tip that came in, something specific that they were looking for. But it was very clear that they were looking for something. Because again, at first I thought like, the helicopter's doing a pass. The sheriff's office just wants to show that they're keeping an eye on the area. But no, they were searching for something.
Yeah, and I think Jennifer Koffendorfer mentioned they might have gotten called a tip, and they were out trying to find whatever it was they thought might be within the vicinity of the house. Or maybe they thought whoever took her couldn't manage for too long. And maybe there was something in the wilds. Like you said, it's pretty rural out there. The other thing that's upsetting, and I don't want to think this, is that, if you're going to leave a body somewhere, there are so many wild animals in that area at night. It's very, very hard to keep the integrity of a potential body, if there is one, intact for a long time with all the wildlife. And let's hope that that's not the situation. The ransom notes, let's talk a little bit about that. One to TMZ that was detailed about what she was wearing, details inside the house, and then asking for Bitcoin. And another one to a local TV station. Let me see which one it is. I think it's KOLD TV in Tucson. KOLD, yeah. My law enforcement source says he's not putting a lot of stock in that. There's a lot of crazies out there that want to insert themselves. But what are you hearing from where you are?
Yeah, so you mentioned with the TMZ note, we learned that in the note there were some specifics about what Nancy was wearing and then specifics about the inside of the house, but we don't know if those are true. I mean, like that was just coming from TMZ. We don't know if it actually, is going to check out with what she was actually wearing.
Yeah, like TMZ got it. Like TMZ
Right.
got that.
And it was
It's
an
just
email,
that
by the way.
In an email, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
But is it just some lunatic who's going to be traced and charged? That, and also the sheriff said that they don't know what she was wearing. So how could
Correct.
Anyway, that's part of the idea here is that emails can be traced.
Yeah, they can be traced. I don't know. I think the whole thing is a little weird. Like, why would the kidnapper reach out to TMZ? And then I noticed that TMZ, Harvey Levin, was saying they were having a hard time getting in touch with the sheriff initially, which I just found to be kind of strange if the sheriff was taking it that seriously. But the sheriff's office did put out a statement later acknowledging these and saying that they were investigating. Yeah, there it is. And when I was at the press conference earlier, we asked, have there been any ransom notes? And I thought it was interesting. Again, the sheriff didn't answer the question. He just said, we're looking into every. And yesterday he was much more open, Ashley. I mean, you had him on your podcast. He was all over the place. He was answering every question. He was kind of like hard to follow it sometimes. I'm like, he was talking about his gut feeling about things. And I'm like, is it really what he's saying actually factors? Anyway, but today he was much, much more careful.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said before, they're a little bit new at this. I mean, they don't get this kind of stuff going on in this rural area in Pima County. But, upsetting just to think that somebody, if it's true, may be trying to insert themselves. Let's get to some of the other breaking stuff that my source told me that's just kind of blood curdling, that they did indeed find blood inside the house. You found the blood outside the house. The confirmation from my law enforcement sources that there was blood inside the house as well. And that they have towed Annie Guthrie's car. Annie Guthrie being Savannah Guthrie's sister and the last person to have dropped Mrs. Guthrie off at 9:45 the night before, but that they have towed and impounded her car into evidence. That is sort of the ground shook when I learned that.
That's interesting because we had heard that the FBI was at the Savannah sister's house earlier tonight. I hadn't heard the towing of the car, and I just kind of assumed like they were over there talking to them, trying to get more information about, what was going on in Nancy's life in the days up to this. But yeah, the towing of the car, I'm trying to sort of wrap my mind around the reasons that they may have done that.
I mean, I guess I can understand. I'm trying to think of all the reasons why it's not a big deal. And
right.
It's the last person to have seen Nancy Guthrie. My law enforcement source says, who takes an 84-year-old woman with limited mobility? It's a burden for the kidnapper to do so unless someone has a vested interest in gaining something from it, like insurance benefits or a family debt that needs paid off, anything like that. This was just the musings, not the evidence of this investigator. But the other sort of earth-shattering information that this source told me is that Nancy Guthrie's son-in-law, Annie's husband, Thomas O'Cioni, is now maybe considered prime suspect in this case.
Wow. Yeah. So I haven't heard the most I heard was that the FBI was at their house earlier today. I haven't heard that at all. I don't know much about them. I mean, I think they were the last ones with her, right? On Friday night.
Two reports, that Annie dropped her off or that Annie and Tomaso dropped her off. It's a little unclear, but this law enforcement source specifically pointed to her car being towed, impounded, and in evidence. And the son-in-law, Tomaso Cioni, age 50, may be the prime suspect in the case.
Well, and it would make sense even if they hopefully did absolutely nothing wrong and this is their mom, and it's like makes your heart hurt. I mean, I feel terrible for everyone in the family, but it would make sense that they don't want to leave any stone unturned. So even if investigators are thinking like, we don't think these people had anything to do with it, but the fact that they were the last ones with her, she was in that car the night before, like maybe they're just going to check everything regardless.
And that, my source said there's a lot of familiarity. This kidnapper had a lot of familiarity with this home, with the 2 different Nest cams that were smashed. And, that they said an 84-year-old woman with limited mobility is not an easy person to kidnap. There has to be a benefit in some way.
Mm.
You think about a break-in. No, you've caught me breaking into your house. Now you've seen me. Well, you don't typically kill someone and take the body or take the live person with you. That's not usually how a burglary that's foiled ends. It's far more complicated and odd. The mystery is more. It just takes you in a different direction. Your thoughts, anyway. The other thing is that my source said they are obviously looking at all cell phone pings and geofencing to find out what was in that neighborhood. This is the kind of thing that, trips up just about anybody. It may have tripped up Dr. Michael McKee in the Tepe murders. He left his phone in the hospital, but the car was seen. Brian Koberger shuts his phone off right as he's leaving and puts his phone back on right as he's returning home, right around the times of the murders. These are things that some people just don't think about.
Yeah, and it's not just phones. I was talking to a FBI agent who just retired actually from this area earlier, and he was reminding me that, it's iPads, it's like all sorts, it's iWatch, it's all sorts of electronics now, that can track you. And he was emphasizing to me that is the number one thing that the FBI is doing right now, and that they can literally narrow it down in such a way through the cell phone towers to who was right in this area, and then try to follow that device. And he thinks that's really what's going on behind the scenes right now. And there's also just questions about, do they have a suspect that we just don't know about? I mean, I was thinking back to Brian Koberger earlier when you and I were talking every night, and it was like, gosh, these police, they don't seem like they know anything. And then come to find out they knew a lot. Do they just have their poker face on in these press conferences, and they actually know a lot? And
it's true. They do. I mean, that has to be, we have to be kept in the dark about things because they've got to keep the suspect in the dark about a lot of things, Super interesting though, just about the fact that family members are always number one. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Ed Smart was one of the number one, suspects in the disappearance of his daughter, Elizabeth, because does the boogeyman really come into your house and steal your daughter out of her bed beside her little sister? I doubt it. Well, he did. The boogeyman did come in. Brian David Mitchell did come in and steal Elizabeth, and it wasn't Ed Smart. But the way law enforcement works is you have to start from the inside of the concentric circles and then work out to any potential other suspects. So if this ends up being prime suspect, but not the only one, and we're just eliminating him, that could definitely be the case. But I also feel like, would you tow and impound the car of Savannah Guthrie's sister, of Nancy Guthrie's daughter? And if there weren't something bigger to it, I mean, it's very loud. It's a very big move.
Do you think it's strange? And you've been in the bigger media world more than I have. Do you think it's strange that Savannah Guthrie hasn't said anything? I mean, could that be an indication of maybe some drama in the family behind the scenes?
So many things could be happening there. If I were in Savannah's shoes, I would be mute. I would be catatonic. You're a big media person. This massive thing is swirling around you. You don't even know what to say and what not to say. You have a million friends in the media business. Everybody wants a comment from you. And the police may have just said, we'd like you not to say anything. And I know Savannah. Savannah is a lawyer. She is a long-studied crime reporter. I met her at Court TV. We worked together at Court TV. She is brilliant. And so Savannah will be doing the smartest things to aid in this investigation. She will do everything that the police are asking her to do, and she will not go rogue. I know that. Yeah. And I don't know, the other aspect of that is that if the FBI was over at Annie's house, they've towed her car, they're looking at her husband. If I were Savannah, that would be enough for me to just say, I need to just stay out of the limelight. I need to stay out of everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. I was just wondering about that because if there is a family dynamic here, might be a reason for her to, like you said, just sort of stay quiet. Although I hate to even think that. I mean, I hope that's not the case. I know you have your source, but it's gosh, that's just terrible.
I was interviewing Ed Smart and Lois and having to ask them about that. It was awful and so awkward and so uncomfortable, but I do understand it's how law enforcement has to work. They can't ignore that or they wouldn't be doing their jobs. What about the neighbors? Have you heard from anybody out there?
Yeah, we've talked to several neighbors. People loved Nancy. We're hearing a lot of that. I mean, she lived here since the early '90s. I think 1992 is when
Hmm.
she moved in, which a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Savannah probably bought her the house. It's a really nice house." I mean, apparently not, because she's lived here for a long time. So a lot of people know her. And people are on edge about the whole thing. The police have been to all of the neighbors' houses. There was one neighbor who told me police had been there twice looking for videos. So
Wow.
it seems like, we've done other stories where you show up and you're like kind of surprised, gosh, how are we the first ones here? That doesn't seem like the case here. People have been going to all the different neighbors' houses. There was one neighbor who told me that they were even trying to talk to the landscapers, because there's a lot, I mean, they're really nice houses out here, and there's a lot of like landscape crews and stuff. So they were talking to them because they kind of know the area. So yeah, people have been cooperating with the police for sure.
Well, I remember a case, Nancy Woodrum in Paso Robles, California, well over a decade ago. Elderly woman disappeared from her home. It was this sort of freaked me out a little because it seemed so similar, but it ended up being a painter that worked at the house. So they will be canvassing. And I think the sheriff did say that to me. They're canvassing every single person, from caretakers to landscapers to pool, service contractors, etc. Anybody who had any kind of connection at that house, that would be absolutely number one. They would do that right away and get alibis and check for DNA. The other interesting thing is, Brian, that the sheriff today said that they have tested some of the DNA that was discovered at the house, but that nothing that's come back so far has indicated a suspect.
Right. They confirmed that the DNA connected back to Nancy, which I guess is no real surprise. She lived in the house, but they wouldn't say what. If it was that blood that was tested? Was that the blood outside that was tested? I do too. I do too, but they didn't confirm it.
I mean, you're seeing blood outside that's it's still red. I could see your video is still red. You're testing that. You're testing that right away, because what if there was a pitched fight and a knife was being used and, the assailant was cut? There'd be mixed blood. So that would be the first thing but it was devastating to hear that so far nothing's come back, indicating a suspect. This is going to be a hard one. This will be a really, really hard one. Like you said, it's so dark out there and so rural, and it's not like a lot of Ring cameras and license plate readers are going to lead to whatever vehicle, and I do say vehicle. Nancy Guthrie couldn't move more than 50 yards on her own. She needed to be conveyed in some kind of a vehicle.
I wonder if they already have a vehicle description. Because, with the FBI being involved so early, and there are traffic cameras out, like on the main road out here, and they're just not giving it to us at this point for a specific reason.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they're going to look at every single vehicle that was in that area and find out who they were, where they were, who they were with. That's not tricky. That's what led us to Dr. Michael McKee in the Tepe murders.
Thank you, honey. Much love to you.
What am I missing?
Thank you so much.
I think you covered it pretty well. I mean, we hit the ransom. The blood is really alarming. The cameras, which you had new information on. I don't know if you caught the press conference, Ashley.
I did.
It was a little strange. I mean, there was not a lot of new information. The FBI was there for the first time. They had the special agent in charge of Tucson who was there along with the sheriff. The FBI was not there yesterday. I thought it was interesting. The sheriff started by saying, well, I said some things maybe I shouldn't have said yesterday. And, I had to do all these interviews. It was just kind of strange. I thought, like you said, I guess they don't deal with that a lot here. And then I thought it was interesting that he said, next press conference will be Thursday.
That's right.
Yeah.
No updates unless needed.
Correct. And I was just like, okay, kind of like nothing to see here, everybody. It's just a little odd, I thought.
You know what? I thought it was strange when he said no updates until Thursday, unless and until something happens. And then when I got my information from my law enforcement source, I thought, maybe it's because you do have your prime suspect. And that's why you're saying we don't need to do any updates right now. I don't know. Again, it's a great, impeccable source that I have, extraordinarily connected to this. So, and somebody who's very high in law enforcement too. So, I don't have any reason not to believe that. I do want to mention that there was dispatch chatter, which was super interesting. Dispatch audio that was like dispatch talking to responding units.
Nancy, a white female, 84 years of age, 5'2" medium build, powder blue. Nancy has high blood pressure, pacemaker, and cardiac issues.
Saying that there was high blood pressure, medication, a pacemaker, and cardiac issues. So they seemed to know right away, even as before they got there, that there was some medical issue with this missing person. Maybe that came from the family. Yeah, really.
Well, and
interesting,
you've heard right about the pacemaker connecting to the iWatch, and she was charging her iWatch in the room, and they were able to review the data in the iWatch, and the last time the pacemaker connected to the iWatch was at 2 a.m. So that's sort of how they've been able to. I just want to look again and see what. Yeah, it's interesting. This must be security out here.
And taking pictures just to say what things look like out there. My source said to me that the separation from the pacemaker at 2 a.m. is the time of abduction. That's what the police believe. They refused to narrow the window for us in the press conference today, but my law enforcement source said, yes, it's 2 a.m. That's when they believe she was abducted / kidnapped. The sheriff said kidnapped to me. I don't think there's a big difference. And that they believe that it absolutely happened at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, which would make sense. And again, just as dark as it is out here, I'll just show you. Like if I pick up my camera, my phone, or we have all our lights, but look like down the street, Ashley, it's like, you can see what it's like out here. It's like totally pitch black. So
the only thing you can see are the vehicles. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Makes it real hard for an investigation, Brian. My God. Well, listen, you were unbelievable today in what you were able to I mean, I think the blood trail is some of the biggest news that's come out of this, as well as the notion that that Annie and Tomaso's vehicle is being, has been impounded, is in evidence, and that they may be considering him a prime suspect. It's very disturbing. It's very distressing. But listen, thank you, because I know you're so busy. Every single show on News Nation you've been on, and updating them all, and just getting your crew out there, fantastic. Dave and Mo, congratulate them for the work they're doing as well. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate this.
Yeah, it's always good to see you, Ash.
So y'all go sign up to Ashley Banfield, Drop Dead Gorgeous. Her link was dropped and all of the things. She has some good information over there. Let me take this down. Turn that off. But yeah, absolutely. This is very strange, but I do think that we're gonna find out more information in the hours to come. Hopefully it will be good information and not bad information, but I don't know. To me, it don't look good, and I'm just going to be straight up honest with you. All the neighbors are spread out, like everyone has, at least an acre, maybe more of land. They're out in the desert. It was dark. So neighbors are not really that close. Maybe they didn't hear, maybe they didn't see, but everybody needs to still check their cameras. They need to turn that in if the cops haven't been there. Annie and her husband here on the screen, Tomaso, which we are hearing may be allegedly the prime suspect. We don't know that, so we can't say for 100% certainty, anything like that. But that's what they're thinking. That's what they're saying. They have a house that they bought together, which was $650,000. It was a $650,000 home about 10 minutes down the road from Nancy. And that's also important. It's just important to note for the cops. We can keep it in the back of our mind, but, was they having financial difficulties? Was there a problem? We don't know. And the latest verified information that we have right now is Nancy is an 84-year-old woman. She's the mother of TV co-anchor Savannah Guthrie, and this is a developing, widely reported national news story. And with ongoing investigation, thank God that they do have that. I don't care who she is. I'm glad that they got it, because the older you are, the more difficult it is, your chances diminishes. And with the blood and all the evidence, things are not looking good right now. I don't want to leave you scared. What I want to do is I want to leave you aware. Let's just say that. I want to leave you aware that there is an 84-year-old woman out there and she's missing, and that she's somewhere. Her family is wanting answers. They're waiting for answers. And if this was your mama, if this was your grandmama, if it was somebody you loved, you would pray that the world did not look away either, and we don't want to assume here. We don't want to accuse. We don't want to sensationalize him either, or anybody else, but we still stand, and we're still going to speak her name, and we still ask for her to be found. We still hope that she's found safe. But honestly, it don't look good. And as good as I want it to look, 48 hours is gone. 24 hours is gone. And as I tell y'all, time don't stand still. Time keeps going. Time keeps ticking by. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what money you got. That's just the way it is. That clock keeps ticking. And every minute and every second and every hour that she's gone, it's not good news. So if you know something, please say something. And if you don't know anything, then just please share her face, share her story, say her name, and keep it in the light. I mean, for Nancy's entire family and to Nancy, I am truly so sorry from my heart that this has even happened to you, that you and your family is going through this. I pray that Nancy is found safe. Before we leave, I want to stop for one moment and take a breath. Just take a breath with me. Drop an emoji, drop a candle, say a silent prayer. That's right, Millie. This is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Just say a prayer. This is an 84-year-old woman, Nancy Guthrie, who has not come home yet, who has not been found yet. Somewhere right now, this family is working hard to find answers. And they're waking up, if they could even sleep. They're waking up with the same thing. Unanswered questions. Where is our mom? Where is our grandma? She's a mother. She's a grandmother. She was a friend. She's a woman who lived a full life loving other people, and now it's time to love her and look for her. She deserves to be found, and she deserves dignity. When an elderly person goes missing, time matters, everything matters, every hour, every minute, every second. Every shared post, every person who refuses to look away, everybody who knows something that turns in a tip, it all matters. We don't want to turn pain into entertainment here. This is not entertainment. This is a sad, true life story, and people are going through pure hell. And if it is anybody they know, whether it be family members or not, it's going to get a lot worse. We just hope and pray. I hope and pray that the truth comes out. Nancy's found real soon. And we're going to do what families pray that strangers always do. And that's keep the hope. And that's, if you know something, say something. And if you don't, just share her name, share her face, and share her story with respect, because she lived 84 years. Hopefully she'll live more years, but she has earned and she deserves respect. Because one day, it could be your mother. One day, it could be your grandmother. And one day, it could be your person. One thing you don't do is you don't ever say never. I thank you for all being here. You're all much loved. You're all much appreciated. And please, if you know anything, do what the sheriff said. Call the tip line, 520-882-7463. They also have it known as 88-CRIME, CRIME. The main Pima County Sheriff's main line is 520-351-4900. And they said yesterday, if you have an emergency or you think you spot her or know where Nancy is, not only take a picture, a video, but they want you to immediately call 911. There's a mobile app for anonymous tips you can set up, and you can use that by doing the P3TIPS application, and that's available on iOS and Android phones. But visit 88crime.org to submit any tips, digital evidence, or anything like that. Again, I will read it as we leave, but the disclaimer on the fair use, I appreciate everybody allowing me to use this content, included experts more than me. It included images, video, shared things, but references under fair use as permitted, as I believed to be, under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act for purposes of news reporting, commentary, education, and public awareness. And everything belongs to its respective owners, and all I want to do is to try to help get Nancy's name and face out there. That's all. And be respectful about doing it. Thank you for joining me. Let's play our song out. I love y'all and have a great day.
She was born and bred in Nashville, but she walks the beaches down in Florida sand. A mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister, trying hard to do the best she can. She found her voice with a heavy heart, looking for purpose with trembling hands. Giving this all a new start, moving ahead, speaking for ones who came. She says, I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be turned. Her mama fought cancer while she was searching, stories that needed a gentle voice. We saw a summer's name and felt the heart ache and tried to bring light where there was no choice. And when she heard of Sebastian, her sadness rose. She prays for truth through the noise. She'll follow wherever the story goes, seeking their dignity, a child's joy. She says, I am who I am, I'll stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard, 'cause she's got a caring heart that won't be She said, I am who I am, I stand my ground. Even when the nights get long and rough, you'll hear my sound. She'll be speaking for the ones unheard. She's got a caring heart that won't be turned.
Thank you to everybody. Y'all have a wonderful day.